very good morning. Welcome to Smart Men's Business. I'm Andrew Barigi. Today is the 10th that's of November. It's a Thursday, and of course, we're just heading just a few days. Of course, we've just kicked off into the month. And I also officially welcome you to this segment of SMB News Recap as we take you through the day's previous business news stories that are making headlines. That's into the world of business. And of course, I hope you really are ready for the new prospects regarding and of course the business information that is going to be delivered to you on Smart24 TV, and of course like always on Go TV, that's channel 394, on DSTV channel 372, and we shall be in position of course to broadcast you the business related news, and of course you get that information to make the appropriate decisions. Maybe before I get into the details of the morning report, just a brief of what we should expect this morning. We shall have an insight regarding the inflation in Uganda, and of course a report from the Bank of Uganda, and also come around and take a look at the East African Cooperation, East African Community Affairs regarding that. And then we have something to do with Uganda and cryptocurrency. That is something very remarkable right there. And also the aspect of illicit alcohol. And of course, we shall come down to the Credit Reference Bureau, getting to understand what really is transpiring right there. And also come down to the aspect of the Uganda Securities Exchange launching what we call as a dollar. And of course, this is going to be the particular report that we are going to start with this morning, looking at the Uganda Securities Exchange Specialist Market, which is known as USE. A dollar is a securities platform that is aimed at enabling companies which do not meet that's the minimum listing requirements on the exchange on the exchange's public market segment access that's capital in form of long-term funding through private placements and restricted offer. This is made possible by connecting them to select providers of the capital that's for both equity and debt funding. Bronia Katsume with his report.
Platform enables private business with several owners to profit from the efficiencies offered by the current trading platforms. Particularly, shareholders are able to trade their shares, sell their stock if they so choose, and use the platform's portfolio management capabilities. This focuses on medium-sized businesses that fit the requirements. Out of the 150 businesses, it would be successful if they admitted 10 to 15 businesses initially. If the business is growing, investors will be interested.
Introducing this new market, the USA dollar, this should provide a new perspective to how people view the capital markets, but the exchange, because this market specifically is a platform for unquoted securities. I'll probably repeat that. These are unquoted securities. Quoted securities are the securities on public markets. These are securities in the private market. And this market that we have actually created, the US Specialist Market, is actually a private market for capital and provision of capital. So this is where companies which do not meet the minimum listing requirements of the exchange public market segment will be supported to access capital for long-term funding through private placements or restricted offers. Can be accessed through this market will be both debt and equity. We want to facilitate high growth companies with potential and solid growth strategies, but we may not meet that will not meet the eligibility requirements of the public market segments at this point in time. To achieve the objectives of enabling them to tap into both the deep pockets and fresh expertise of professional investors to power their growth.
The specialist market is anticipated to grow and create a sustainable pipeline for listings on the other public market segments of the exchange by serving a stepping stone for the corporation to meet the standards of these segments, in addition to supporting these entities.
Overall, year on year, the numbers are improved over 100%. From about 16.8 billion end of October 2021 to about 35.2 billion right now. Still depressed compared to where we were pre-COVID, before COVID, but we're now starting to see a reaction and interest in the markets. The reason why, one, companies are now paying dividends, paid dividends end of 2021. I think about 8 of the 10 companies actually did pay a dividend. And we've also seen improvement in performance. So that usually drives growth.
The market is governed by a set of operating guidelines which provide a framework for participants as well as other stakeholders that desire their various available services. Uganda Securities Exchange provides incredible platforms for protected investors, fair and efficient markets, and also helps in raising capital. Bronia Katsime, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
That's regarding that particular aspect. Companies that don't have the required minimum standards to be listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange will be built an opportunity through the different various options through that $1 platform launch. So that is something very beneficial for your company right there. So if your company CEO and probably thought about listing your company to the Uganda Securities Exchange and you don't have that, and you feel like you don't have the minimum requirements to be listed there, that is going to be a very quite positive chance for you there to put it out there through the Uganda Securities Exchange platform. That is $1. Okay, now away from that, let's see to the Bank of Uganda, a report, of course, which says that the inflation, of course, will stay up to 2024. Atingi Michael, the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Uganda, has reassured the nation that the current inflation will last till 2024, that the increase in productivity and value addition is the only way to lower it. Samuel Hanifa with this particular report.
Governor, who testified before the Finance Committee to address the concerns about inflation in the nation, told the MPs that there is no immediate solution to the current inflation, which he claims is a global problem brought on by occurrences such as COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukraine war, and that the only way for Uganda to escape this situation is to increase more productivity with value addition.
How do we increase production and value addition to solve this perpetual problem of reserves? Because through value addition, let me emphasize it again. First of all, through increased production, we can produce more cash crops for export. Through value addition, we can have import substitution to conserve on forex. Through value addition, we can have more manufactured exports, agro-processed exports that fetch more value for our exports. So that means we are increasing the availability of foreign currency through import substitution and more exports through manufactured goods and agro products. So really, issue is production.
The Bank of Uganda continues to manage liquidity, raising questions from the MPs as to why this is happening, given that the people desperately need the money to expand their production in order to escape their difficult circumstances.
Isn't it then surprising that instead of stimulating production, which you partly talked about, reacting to the pressures on the supply side, and also to help the businesses recover from the impact of COVID and all what we've gone through, you've instead impacted on the liquidity?
Ugandans expect service delivery, especially in the road sector, health sector, education. And because of trying to control inflation, all these sacrifices are being made for the time being, rightfully being made. What therefore should government do right in the short run?
Legislators are also concerned about how quickly the nation is continuing to borrow money at high interest rates from both local and foreign sources, fearing that this could deplete the nation's reserves as most of them are used to pay off debts.
Deliberately scat out other issues that mount to national debt. For example, arrears. People who have supplied the government in their trillions and they are not paid. Is it not part of our national debt?
Richard Wanda from Bungoko County has also voiced his dissatisfaction with the way the Ugandan shilling has been losing value against the other currencies over time.
Some time back when I began understanding, the Uganda shilling I think was around 1,000, 2,000 equivalent to the dollar. the trend has been a loss of value all the time up to where we are. And my biggest concern is that this trend is not, we are not seeing a way of it reducing or coming down.
On the other hand, the Deputy Governor has taken note of the MP's worries and reassured them that the Bank of Uganda is doing everything in its power to control inflation by regulating liquidity, which is the reason why some product prices have begun to decline. However, he has counselled them to carefully review the budget and make sure that the funds are allocated to expand export output in order to generate foreign exchange. Additionally, he pointed out that the climate change, which led to prolonged droughts and a consequent decrease in agricultural production, even though agriculture is the foundation of the economy, was a contributing factor in Uganda's inflation.
We, as the central bank, we are trying our best to manage our liquidity, and we have raised the central bank rate, and depending on the data that comes out, we will try to ensure that we achieve the 5% inflation objective in the medium term. So our projections are that our actions to date, all right, should deliver average inflation of about 8 to 10% in 2023, and then we will be back to 5% in 2024. Let me repeat. Inflation, our projection is that in 2023, it will be anywhere between 8 and 10%, and it should be down to 5% in 2024.
Uganda's inflation rate is at 10.7% as we speak, and Bank of Uganda is continuing to manage liquidity in the country, as well as encouraging Ugandans to increase production with value addition. The question is, where is the money going to come from for this production? Samla Hanifa, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
Inflation to stay till 2024, and the only way out that it can't be sold and reduced or lowered is through increasing productivity and, of course, value addition. Should be marginally emphasized. So that's according to the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Uganda. That's Dr. Michael Atingi-Igo. All right, now away from that, let's head to Uganda and the cryptocurrency. That despite the fact that neither the government nor the central bank has any control over cryptocurrencies, market participants in Uganda who trade and invest in them do so fully, that's at their own risk. They, on the other hand, blame the government and other Ugandans for their ignorance, claiming that cryptocurrency is a serious business. Benson Mumbere with this report.
In 2022, the Bank of Uganda issued a notice warning the public against using cryptocurrencies to transact business, saying it has not licensed any company to offer the services. The Bank of Uganda noted that this is in line with the official government position as communicated by the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. The cybersecurity expert Nohabadi Nsanvu claims that while every new technology like cryptocurrency may express setbacks, it is still a good idea to invest in it.
So to hear if we can have information moving as easy as that, if I can send you a message like a WhatsApp and you get it instantly, why can't we do that for money? So cryptocurrencies solve this question. So it's an evolution. Like any new technology, it's going to have its growth pains. I'm a cybersecurity expert, so I can speak to its integrity as a technology. It's one of the most secure technologies, but that doesn't make it immune to human weaknesses. There are always going to be fraudsters. You know, people talk about scams and Ponzi schemes. This didn't start with cryptocurrencies. They started long ago. Ponzi is actually named after a person called Charles Ponzi, who existed in 1911, who used to con people off their hard-earned money, long before crypto. So as long as they are human beings, there are always that group of people who want to cheat. And so because the technology is still new, people are still understanding that, many people don't understand how it works, so they can easily be taken advantage of. And that's where these things fail. The solution that we have is to keep educating people, let people know more about cryptocurrencies. So it is safe if it is used by people who know.
But for cryptocurrency users, it's frequently the case that the ways they do their business in Uganda reflect the same values and priorities that motivated them to buy a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin.
Okay, setting up regulation next year. India already has a cryptocurrency tax of 30%. Like, it has already adopted the cryptocurrency. Nigeria last week set up the e-Naira, which is a central bank cryptocurrency. So Uganda may be slow to adopt it, but it is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, it's here to stay. Eventually we are going to get on board. We might get on board late.
They argue that given that other nations like Nigeria are adopting the same technology, it is therefore important to fund an organization that recognizes and promotes the special value of cryptocurrencies. They also urge to the government to conduct additional research on how cryptocurrency is working.
Form of living much easier. Say, for example, cryptocurrency is allowing us to make micropayments, to get a taxi from the airport up to this point with paying in cryptocurrency. Yeah, people are being remitted funds through cryptocurrency, and then you just easily cash out for Ugandan currency. So you trust it because it has been trusted by many people. But of course, it's a bet. What I mean by a bet is that the market keeps fluctuating, and the cryptocurrency market is very volatile. So one time it's up, one time it's down. Yes. So right now, this specific moment, we're having a downtrend.
This has happened at a time when Celo Africa has introduced the Celo Africa Web3 Fund to support businesses in Uganda, including those who trade in cryptocurrencies, after Kenya, Nigeria, among others.
Looking at understanding and education, it's something that we grapple with on a daily basis, in that when you think about cryptocurrencies being new, blockchain, all these fancy terms going out there, the wananchi, the person on the street, may not understand exactly what is being talked about. So education is a very big pillar of what we're trying to do. We try to hold workshops like this one that kind of raises public awareness about what is happening and how you can be able to break it down. Also kind of having like native approaches to the education question by having grassroots movements, having local content that they can be able to understand in their local languages. So for the case of Uganda, for the case of the foundation, we have ambassadors in various countries that help us localize the mission and be able to actually talk to people at the grassroots level. So education is a very big pillar in as far as getting adoption through understanding of the masses.
Much as many people who adopt to cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin made huge returns in their investment, you need to be aware of the risks involved in investing in digital currencies.
That's Uganda and cryptocurrency, and definitely the dealers responding to the required directives to ensure that they can operate efficiently, that's within the country, and also the aspect that more research needs to be done regarding cryptocurrency. I've seen quite a lot of people mess up into this particular industry of the crypto industry, so it's very important. That's why majority of the governments have not yet really given into accepting this as an official currency, apart from the Central African Republic, which actually officially, that was last year, came up. I believe it was the first African country to officially allow cryptocurrency as an exchange form of currency. So you can see how it's really transparent in Uganda, and quite a lot of more information and research is needed to get people exposed regarding the cryptocurrency. All right, now away from that, let's head to the East African Community Affairs, as the East African Community Affairs has revealed plans to minimize trade barriers that's in the community through the treaty, which has a clear report mechanism on bilateral framework and resolutions on non-tariff, that's obstacles to trade, establishment of free trade on goods and services that's amongst themselves, and agreed that's on a single external tariff, whereby imports from countries outside the East African Community Zone are subjected to the same tariff when sold in any East African Community partner state. Martha Nimsima with this report.
Africa has made a significant progress towards its integration plan, which consists of 4 strategies: treaty, customs union, common market protocol, monetary union, and political federation. However, According to Ms. Edith Mwanje, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of East African Community Affairs, sometime in the 1960s, the payment of pensions to workers after 15 years of service collapsed.
It started in 1967 and closed in 1977. Therefore, for you to qualify for this pension, you were required to have worked for over 10 years before, because pension is normally not 10 years, but because there was a collapse, so the people who had qualified for the pension were given pension, and we have about 450 people who, up to now, they still get their pension. They are on the payroll. I pay them every month.
As chairperson, Honorable Noeli Nachisembo Basemira discusses some of the difficulties still facing East Africa. The Parliamentary Committee of the EACA in the Ugandan Parliament made a commitment today to assist the region in its integration goal.
We wanted, as the committee of EAC, to help with fast-tracking this, but the ministry needs to give us information on those laws that need harmonization, so that we take it from there.
John Mulimba, the State Minister of International Affairs in charge of corporate affairs, told the people that since the East African Treaty was founded, those issues will be addressed.
The admission of DRC into the EAC, that shows that the journey is on. However, along the journey, there are challenges. There are challenges which may emerge. So what you're talking about are simply challenges, but the treaty for the establishment provides for frameworks of sorting out challenges. And I'm sure the process for settling some of those challenges is on.
A total of 104 laws have been passed in accordance with the Article 65 of the treaty. 66 of them have received the approval of the heads of state, and 35 more are still waiting their assent. Samuel.
That's regarding the East African Community Affairs, as we see a single that's external tariff whereby the imports from other countries outside the East African Community Zone will be subject to the same tariff. That's when sold to any East African partner state. All right, now away from that, let's head to a report regarding why there are quite so many businesses in Uganda closing. Uganda was declared among the fastest entrepreneur growing countries and of course worldwide, but however, we still see the highest rate of business closure. Let's have an insight regarding this.
Over the years, we have observed a significant number of Ugandan enterprises that experienced a great success, particularly in the beginning, before failing to maintain it. Consider companies like Property Masters, Sembule Steel Mills, WBS TV, Mukalazi Technical Services, and Zimwe Construction. Businesses can fail for a variety of reasons, including those related to leadership, staff, strategy, and competitiveness, among others.
Businesses are failing because of lack of markets. They are not able to sell as much as they need to pay their expenses because everybody is tightening their belts and they are spending very, very, very little on the goods and services that are being provided by the businesses. So that is a very big reason. The second reason is there is too much competition already. You can see every business that we are doing, there are so many people who are competing. There are so many who are doing the same business, meaning that the competition comes in. Now, when the competition comes in, everybody is looking at how they can attract those very few customers. So in the end, we have seen companies reducing on their prices or unable to increase their prices to maintain a health margin. That's the difference between what the figure they sell at and the figure, the things that they sold on, they are selling were bought. So the margins are being squeezed, they are becoming very small. Now, if they become very small, it means they are not able to cover the expenses that they are supposed to cover. The third reason I've already said is the increase in the cost of doing business. Look at a normal business person. They are paying a very high cost in terms of rent. They are paying a very high cost in terms of interest rates if they borrowed money from the banks. and they are paying a high cost on their stock, on their raw materials. Now, that high expense is not sustainable, and therefore businesses end up dropping out of the market and close down.
However, it should be noted that the world was severely impacted by the effects of news of COVID-19 near to the close of 2019, and by mid-2020, Uganda was in absolute lockdown, which stressed and forced many enterprises out of the operation game. Ugandans have been instructed, however, to seek out a wider market, advertise and consume their own produced goods, as well as explore fresh innovation ideas in order to stay in the game.
Now, what we are promoting, and we would like most Ugandans to do and pay attention to it and participate, and also government, is to buy more of our products that are made in Uganda. So under the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, let us buy more of our products. If you go to a supermarket, if you go to a shop, and there is a Ugandan product available, we would really recommend that you buy more of that product. By doing that, you're expanding the market for the producer. And when that market for the producer expands, it means they are better able to pay up the expenses. The second thing that we are doing is to look for markets in the region. There are markets that are not serviced very well, or where we can displace the current sellers. Like in the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's a very good market. When we take our goods there, we can very easily compete with goods that come from Europe and elsewhere for that market there. And when that market opens up, then our people can sell in that market and expand their sales.
The increase in advanced science and technology has affected the way we've been doing businesses. So business people must up their game and change the way they have been doing business and start innovate. Because now people, what influences consumers to consume are the behaviors and culture. But our now culture is tremendously changing. You hear the trends. So the trends are now driving the forces of demand and supply and the consumer behavior. So companies must integrate research and innovation at the center of their businesses to be able to understand the behavior of their consumers and know what to provide to these consumers at a specific point in time.
Knowledge gaps and high company costs continue to be a major impediment to Uganda's economic progress, with most of new businesses failing before their first birthday. Small enterprises are the driving force behind Uganda's economic progress, innovation, employment, and wealth creation. Services account for 50% of these small enterprises, followed by trade and commerce 33%, manufacturing at 10%, and others at 7%.
Small and intermediary enterprises are a big driver that's to economic growth, since they constitute of the biggest percentage on the private sector. So you can see their potential in terms of transforming the economy. And of course, coming to this particular report, we see that they have been urged to adapt new innovations and technology at the same time to ensure that they catch up with the current trends, because what really can explain the business closures is the inability of the businesses to catch up with the current demands, but that can only be achieved when innovation and technology are embraced in such an age. Probably that would reduce the rate at which the businesses collapse, and it will be an industry changer regarding that. All right, it's exactly 30 minutes. That's past the hour of 7 a.m. and we've come to the end of the business report this morning. And of course, at this particular time, let's get into a short commercial break. More business insights when we return. Good morning.